Thank you for joining me today for today's webinar, where we're continuing the discussion for field service. And today's topic in particular will be scheduling and optimization. This is the 9th video in a series of videos that we've been making, talking about field service. My name is Ali Zakir. I'm a techno-functional consultant for AblyPro. So let's get into this. So the importance of optimization within field service. We'll be talking about global optimization, in-day optimization, and resource optimization. So when we're talking about optimization and the importance of it, in a medium-sized to a large enterprise level organization where you have a number of field resources, technicians out in the field, let it be 25, let it be 50, let it be hundreds or even thousands of field technicians. Managing the schedule and managing service appointments is very challenging and very demanding. Trying to do it manually is pretty much impossible. So that's where the field service optimization comes in to it, and the power of what field service has to offer. So, once again, manually constructing a efficient field service schedule can be extremely difficult and it's time consuming. And when you have a large number of field technicians, it's next to impossible. So the field service optimization tool does the work for you by generating an optimal schedule according to your company's priorities and constraints. So within field service, there's three main types of optimization. One is global optimization, the other is in-day optimization, and the other one is resource optimization, and that's specifically for a individual field technician, a resource that you have. So those are the three main types. So global optimization, it's a process where your thousands, if not millions, of different scheduling combinations are calculated, with each schedule getting a overall score or grade. And the schedule with the highest score is finally kept. Typically, global optimization is done the day before. It can be done a number of days beforehand, but typically it will be done the night before so that the technicians have an optimized schedule the following morning. And once again, you can run it manually if need be, or you can just have it run on a schedule. And we'll look at that when we get to the demo. Optimize your team schedule for one or more service territories across a specific range of days. Global optimization is the most powerful type of optimization, and therefore it takes the most time to complete. That's why typically it's done the night before your schedule. Requires the most computing power and time. And once again, that's why it's done the night before typically. With more time, you get better results. So that's in-day optimization. So that's the most powerful optimization that we have. Actually, okay. Next is in-day optimization. This is where the optimization is navigated the day of. Last-minute schedule changes by optimizing your team schedule for one or more service territories on the day of the service. For example, let's say a technician calls out sick. That's where you would do in-day optimization. Or let's say a service appointment, your first service appointment of the day, argument say, takes longer than expected. Now what you can do is you can do the in-day optimization, and the other appointments for that individual will get rearranged, as well as, if need be, will be assigned to a different service technician. So it looks at your schedule for the day and evaluates the appropriate slot to find the highest graded time slot. So it'll do a number of calculations. It'll say, okay, fine. It's a good, the way that the optimization works, let it be global as well as in day. It's a grading system. So it looks for different slots. It'll give that slot a grade, and then it'll pick the highest slot, and it'll schedule that service appointment to that particular highest grade slot. The third type of optimization is resource optimization, and this is specifically for an individual. So on the day of, you'd optimize an individual service resources schedule on the day of the service. And once again, it could be because previous service appointment was taking longer. The one that they're working on originally was scheduled for 1 hour, and now it's taken 2 or 3 hours. Now you need to adjust the service appointments for the rest of the day that that service technician has. Or let's say they had a doctor's appointment, and originally they had scheduled to be out for 1 hour, and now it's taken 2 hours, 3 hours. I think everyone's experienced that going to the doctor's office and it's taking longer than expected. Could be also where, let's say, a service appointment later on in the day has canceled that service appointment or been rescheduled to another day for whatever reason. Now that service technician has an open window. So now what you can do with the resource optimization, you can reshuffle your service appointments, factoring in travel times, locations, and things of that nature to come up with a better schedule. Um, so what we're going to do is we're going to jump into the demo org. Let me bring that up. All right. So what we want to do is, so before we actually demo the demo org, let me bring up a couple of other points also. So the scheduling and the optimization, uh, they look at certain aspects, and that would be your scheduling policies, your work rules, your service objectives, and your relevance groups. And the scheduling policies, work rules, and service objectives we had covered in a previous video. So if you like, you can go back and you can review that information. So the optimization can move appointments that were previously scheduled if need be. For example, an optimization can reassign an appointment when it finds a slot with a better graded availability. Once again, it uses a grading scale, or when it tries to fix an overlap. So that if, let's say, one appointment is overlapping the other appointment, the optimization can do its magic and reschedule those appointments when needed. Um, if an optimization unschedules an appointment and can't find another suitable slot, the appointment remains unscheduled after the optimization is completed. Scheduled service appointments that have already been scheduled are considered by the optimizer as pinned on the Gantt, so they can't move essentially. And they aren't moved and they're not unscheduled. Service appointments, travel times can be updated since the next service appointment can be updated. So once again, factoring in one service appointment, if something moves, it also factors in travel times and things of that nature to come up with the optimal order of service appointments. When optimizing your team, your entire team or a individual service resources schedule, appointments with rule violations will remain pinned to the Gantt. So as we're in here, we are going to go to, so actually let's just go in the field service. So we're just going to type in field service admin. We're going to go to the field service settings. And you're going to come down on the left side to optimization. So we're going to look at the optimization here. So this is where you can actually configure the scheduler and the optimization and the for. And this would be for global as well as in-day. So here on the left-hand side, you can select the territories that you want to optimize and schedule. So for example, here we have Dallas and we have Houston. We can set the frequency. We can do it one time. That would be in day, reoccurring, and then you can basically select your days of the month and which days of the week that you want to do it. You can do days of the week, or you can do it by the month. Um, you can also specify hours when it actually runs, or reoccurring times of how often you want it to run. So, argument's sake, every hour would be excessive. Typically, you'd want to do maybe every 24 hours. Yeah, so it just depends on what your criteria is. Here on the left-hand side, time horizon, this is how many days in advance you can schedule service appointments. Default is 7. You can set that to any number that works for you. If you come down here further, you can also, your scheduling policy, you can define the scheduling policy to use when it's running the optimization and the scheduler. So, for example, here you can select customer first. Once you've, made your changes here and your configurations, you would make it active, and then you can run it now. So once again, this would work. This here would work for your global, which is typically the night before, as well as in day. If you come over here to logic, the number of settings here, and the first one is enable optimization overlap prevention. So we have that checked off. You can also highlight this one, checked overlapping optimization requests will fail. Mark optimization request failed when failing due to org customization. So here, if customization to the org causes scheduling optimizations to fail, set the request status to fail. This option isn't selected, the status is set to complete. Now, this is the settings depending upon the status of service appointments for global optimization. So during a global optimization, service appointments with a status selected below will not be changed. So what this is saying is once a service appointment has been scheduled and it has these statuses, they won't be changed and they won't be moved. They won't be affected, essentially. So by default here, we have in progress, canceled, cannot complete, dispatch, and completed. If we scroll down here, we have the same essential settings, but this is specifically for in-day and resource schedule. Resource schedule is for a individual field technician. So once again, doing service resource optimization and in-day optimization. Service appointments with a status selected below will not be changed. So by default, we have in progress, we have canceled, cannot complete, dispatched, and completed. And if we had made any changes, then obviously we would click on save. So now let's go to the Gantt view. Field service. Click on field service. So this is what we have. So on the schedule for this particular day, we have 2 service appointments scheduled on the Gantt. So if we talk the other type of scheduling or optimization we have is resource optimization. So if you click on these 3 dots here, you'll see this resource schedule optimization. And what that'll do is it look at the service appointments that this individual has, Bobby Fisher, and it will try to optimize their schedule. So if there was any changes, if the appointment was running late, if their break or let's say, absence of any kind, doctor's appointment, whatever the case may be, is running longer, what you can do is you click on these 3 dots and then click on resource schedule optimization, and it'll basically move around the service appointments to as best as possible, essentially. Um, the other thing that we have also is schedule and reschedule, and these are utilized the day of service, and it'll basically add a service appointment to the schedule to the GAN. It'll look for any holes that might be present on the schedule and fill those holes in the schedule. And essentially, it's kind of a greedy algorithm. It's not complicated. It just looks for gaps, and if it sees it, it'll take it. You know, it'll factor in things like how long is the appointment, um, and certain other things. But essentially, what it'll do is it'll look for a gap in the schedule, and it'll take that you have. So, for example, if we look at this service appointment here, you have a button here which is schedule. So if I clicked on schedule, what I will try to do is we only have one field technician here. Typically, you'd have anywhere 10, 15, 20, whatever the case may be. It'll find the best candidate, the best location to put that service appointment. The other thing we have here, and we'll just click on it, is candidate, which kind of does the same thing. We only have one individual here. So as you can see, it's scheduled, it's saying this is a potential candidate. It's giving a 47 out of 100. That's a grade. If there were other service technicians, it would give a grading also, and then it would allow you to pick the most appropriate um, individual for that. So there's a 47 out of 100, not great, but you can take that service appointment. Um, like for example, here we have a 47 out of 100. Let me just hide that. Let's move this service appointment a little bit further down, early on in the day, and do the same thing. And what it should do, should give a better grade than 47. Did I click on the wrong thing? Uh, well, actually, let me unschedule that and do that again. So that actually what you noticed is I had clicked on schedule and it went ahead and it scheduled that service appointment there. So that's what the schedule button does. If you click on candidate, it's still saying a 47. I was expecting it to give a higher number. But what it'll do is essentially it'll look for a slot and it'll give you a grading. And if you like it, then you can um, click on it, click on over here, and it'll go ahead and assign that service appointment. So as you can see, I had clicked on schedule over here, and it'll, as we only have one field technician, again, it'll assign that service appointment here on the Gantt. The other thing you can do is if you click on here, you can also do reschedule, and that'll basically do the same thing as schedule, where it'll move the service appointment to a better location if need be. So that's what reschedule does. So reschedule and schedule kind of do the same thing. Is reschedule is if it's already been scheduled, it'll try to reschedule it to another location on the GAN. The other option we have is reshuffle, and I'll show you that here. If you come down here, you will see reshuffle. So reshuffle is once again, it's on the day of service, and it does also consider 7 days out. And the way it works is, if let's first say, example, a high priority job comes in and the schedule is full, reshuffle, reschedule and move lower priority jobs in order to schedule the high priority job. Um, so it's just giving it a higher priority. So once again, last minute high priority job comes in, and what it'll do is it'll look for any lower priority jobs and schedule it for either later on in the day or up to 7 days in the future. Reshuffle will make room for high priority work over low priority work jobs. In case there's no room for high priority jobs to be scheduled, it will move lower priority jobs to a later date or even unschedule them to be able to assign to more important jobs, even when the technicians are fully booked. So that's what reshuffle does. And how to get to that, once again, if you have this UI, click on it, and then you click on reshuffle. And that's how that works. So once again, the three main types of optimization is global, which is typically done the night before, in day, and then you have resource optimization. And that's where you would come and click on the three dots there, and you would click on resource schedule optimization. And then on top of that, what you can do is, if you had a service appointment here, you click on schedule, and that'll schedule for in-day, for the day of service. And in a way, you can click on Canada and you can see what options you have in terms of grading and things of that nature. And then if you right click on here, you have reschedule, and then you have reshuffle. Um, so that's it for the demo. Hopefully that was useful and you gained some important insight into what um, optimization can do. Is extremely powerful, especially you know um, the overnight global optimization as well as the in-day optimization. It's very powerful. It's a very powerful engine. Um, where your large organizations is something that you definitely want to utilize. Um, and even if you're a smaller organization where you only have maybe 15, 20 technicians, it's still very powerful because once again, trying to do things manually is very time consuming and very complicated. Um, so if you have any questions, please do let us know. We'd be more than happy to answer those questions for you. Once again, thank you for joining us today. It was a pleasure. Um, if you want to contact us, here's our contact information, phone, email, on social media, whatever the case may be. And we're here to help you with your field service needs. Thank you and have a good day. Bye-bye.